Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Good day, everyone.
Okay.
I'm Anubha Joshi. Let me share my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes. Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. 1 second. Okay, so today we are going to see about different data types which comes in Python, then numbers and casting. So let's start with, we'll go through one by one. Let's start with data type first. Here, as we know about variables, how we assign values to variables. This is a variable x, which has a value is a number. So I have assigned a number to this variable x. Then this variable y has a set of characters, which is a string. Then this variable z has this floating point number, a decimal number. So when we assign these different values, these are different types. We consider it as a different types. So this is an integer. We represent integer with int keyword. Then this is a string, a collection, a set of characters. So this data type is represented by str keyword, and this is a floating point number. We use this word, this keyword, to represent float. So there are categories. They are categorized into different types. Here you can see a text type, which is a string, then numeric type, which contains three types. One is integer, float, and complex. Then there is a sequence type, which contains list, tuple, and range. Mapping type, which contains dictionary. Then set types, which has set and frozen set. Then boolean type has bool. Binary types contains bytes, byte array, memory view, and then none type contains none type. So we'll look at it one by one. Some you might not get, but once you go deeper into the course and once you start using it, you will know the use of it, how to use it, and all. So let's start with this string type. Here you can see string is a collection of one or more characters. So how we create it? It can be created using double quote or single quote or triple quote. So it can be a single character or word or sentence or multiple sentences in multiple lines. That's how we can create strings. Here a variable has one word, then variable b has a single character. And here you can see I have created that everything in different format, like in double quote, single quote, and triple quote. This is a multi-line string. So let's print it one by one. So B has single character. Then C has kind of sentence in one line. Then D has multiple lines. So we will execute this statement. Save it and let's run this. Here you can see all that has printed here. So that's how you can print strings. Then there is one more function where we can use the type function. We use it to find out the type of that variable. Now here you can see all these are string type. And if you go further here, this is integer type, this is float type. So what we can do, we can check that one using this type function. So let me instead of p, let's check z, which I have declared here. You can see here. So let's check this one. Save this. Let's execute. You can see here the class float. So the type of z, the type of variable z, the data I have stored in that variable is a float type. So that's how we can see the data type of any variable. After that, let's check this numeric type. So when we come here in the number type, there are, as I said, it comes into three data types: integer, float, and complex. As we have seen, integer, then float, and this is complex number. Integer can be anything like positive or negative integer. Then same with floating point, it comes with the decimal part. That one even can be positive or negative. Then this is a complex type. This is a complex number. It comes in a real part and this is imaginary part. So we can print them. Let's see. Okay, let's print B and then print C. Let me clear up here. Okay, so this is a float. B has this value. Oh, okay, I wanted to print A. Okay, and C has this value, complex value. So let's see. Let me change this. Yes, I wanted to print this. This is variable D. Okay, so here you can see we can print and we will start using all these types soon. Again here we can check the type using this type function. Here you can see B is a float, so it is showing exactly the same thing. That's how we can use all these data types, all these numeric data types. After that, let's check these ones. Okay. In the sequence types, it comes in list, tuple, and range data type. So list is just like an array. So it is a set of values. It is an ordered collection. That means it has position. It is indexed. So how let's see how to create it. The list can be created using the square bracket with this string with the value. It can either be string which is quoted, and it can be numbers. So numbers are not quoted. So that's how we can create list. Then they are separated by commas. You can see here. We can print it as it is. Let's see. If I want to print list 1, you can see the list is printed here. Now let's consider if I want to print a specific value at specific position from that list. So as it is ordered, the list starts with the position 0. So that means the position of this value, this item is 0, 1, 2 and so on as the list continues. This is also 0, 1, 2. Now let's see here. If I want to print this value at one position from list 1, so 0 and 1, so this statement should print blue. And if you look at the other statement, list 2 at second position, that means 0, 1, 2, that should print 45. So let's try to execute it. Blue and 45. So that's how we can access the items from the list. And once we go deeper, there are other methods and other properties, so that you will learn more about it. Then the next data type is tuple. Tuple is just like list. It just while creation we specify that in the parenthesis, but it is ordered collection again. But there is a small change from the list, as we cannot modify this tuple. We can only add or delete from the tuple. And that's how the same again, the string is quoted and numbers are not quoted. Values can be of any data type, and that's how we create this tuple. When we this is a statement to print tuple. Let's check this part. Okay. So let's try to execute this statement first. Only tuple. Here this. Okay. Here you can see this is the output for this statement. Now as it is ordered, we can access values from specific positions. So let's try to do that. Okay. So black. So this is 0, 1 and 2. We are expecting the position 1, so that means 0 and 1, which is black. It has a value black. So output is correct here. That's how we can access values from the tuple. Then here we can check the type, as the name can be anything. So from if we want to check the type, we can use this function again. This is a class tuple. In Python, data types are is a class because it supports object-oriented programming. So all data types are classes. So that's why it is showing class tuple. So let's go and check next data type, which is a range. This part. So as you see, how we declare the range, we create a variable, and with this function, we are creating a range, and that's how we print it. So let's print this one first, and we'll get into that. Here you can see the range is this. It starts with 0 and ends at 5. So the ending position is excluded. We can see that when using loop. You are not familiar with loop as yet, but we can try to see that. Here, this is a value in the for loop. I'm using here for loop, and we are trying to print all numbers in that range. So that should show the output should be 0 to 4. As I said, the last number is excluded. So let's see. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The values should print. For value in X, print that each value. Let's see. In that range, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how we can use range. Then the next data type is a dictionary. Dictionaries are used to store data values in key and value pair. We can create the dictionaries using these curly brackets. This is a key which is in quote, and this is the value. Value is a string, that's why it is in a quote. Then this is a key again, and this is a value. So key value pairs are separated by commas. When you reach up to the last value, whatever you have to enter, you have to avoid putting comma, because that list is ending here. So that's how we create dictionary. We can print it. The values are unique here. Let's print that one. Let me clear up here. Okay. Let's see. This is a key, this is a value for that key, and this is key again with value. Because it is number, it's not quoted. So that's how we represent key. Again, we can try to see the type. Type of this. Let's see. This is a class dictionary. Dict. So that's how we can use dictionary. And after that, Let's check this sets. Set is again a collection. It is a collection of values that can be of any data type, like string, then numbers, boolean values. We are not again seen boolean yet, but you will come to know soon about it. So we represent set in a curly bracket. These are single value, just like dictionary that doesn't come in a key value pair, that is just single value. And duplication is not applicable here. We cannot have duplicate values in set. So let's print this set first. This. Here you can see this is not an ordered set. Set is not ordered collection of values. You can see the order I put here is not the exact what I am getting in the output. So every time you execute it, you will get different order of the values. You can see here. So that's how we can use set. After that, the next is frozen set. It is created using this function, frozen set function. What we are doing here, we are creating one variable and we are using this function. In the parenthesis, we are providing the set which we create using curly bracket, and that's what I have done here. The set we are providing here in the frozen set function, and that's how we create frozen set. Let's print this one. Let's print this. Okay. So here again you can see. Again you can check the type of this variable by using the type function. Then after that you see here this boolean type. This is either the keyword for this boolean type is bool. So the data type, when we try to see the type of that variable, we will get the bool data type. So let's check that. Check it. I have given the value false because when we have to use the bool data type, it can either be false or true, and that also comes with capital F and capital T. If we put a small t or small f like that, like true or false with small f and t, we will get an error. So make sure this false comes with capital F and true comes with capital T. So let's try this. Print X, that should print false. Then the type of X should be bool. Let's see. Okay, so class is bool. So even if you are not getting it for now. Once you start using it, you will start getting all that stuff. For now, you just need to know what data types are coming in Python. So now here, so this is false, and as I declared here, I added one value true here. So sometimes in Python, one represents in the set, and all yes, in set one represents true value and 0 represents false value. If I specify here 1, it will take only one value, because set will consider this true and this true, and as I said, the duplication is not applicable in the set. It will take only one value. So let me try if we can get it. We can see that through this example. Yeah, so even if I added 1 here, it is not showing up here. You can see it is taking only true, because we cannot have duplicate value inside the set or frozen set. So that's why. And if I put false and 0, it will consider it as a false, and it will show up only one value. So that's how it is about these data types. After that, let's check these ones. Okay, binary types, bytes. So we represent it. We create the bytes data type using B keyword like that, and print it. Let's try to execute that one. So variable with B keyword using this double quote. You can see the class is bytes. After that, there is this byte array. The next data type is byte array. In byte array, there is a range where we can give, like the numbers from 0 to 256 we can enter in this area. So let's try to print it. What output we get here? Here you can see this one, this output here. Then the next stuff. Is memory view. So that's how we create the memory view. X is equals to memory view in bracket byte 7. So let's try to print it. These are all different data types. Remember, even if you are not getting it, you will get it once you start using it. So this is the output for this memory view. And then after this is the last type of data type, which is a none type. We can create it like that, assigning none value to the X, print it, and let's try to get the type of this. Again. Oh, okay. Okay. So let's run it again. Yeah, the value is none and the type is none type. So that is all. Those are all data types in the Pythons. As I said, for the numeric values, for the numeric numbers, there are three types comes in: integer, then float, and then complex. We can, as you have seen how we print it, we can print integer, then we can print this float value. After that, so okay, so these are number types here: integer, float. What I am trying to do here, let's add this a plus b, which has an integer and float value. When we add these two values, the addition will be float, because this is a float value. So what system does generally to prevent the loss of data, it will automatically assign that value, the float value, to this variable. So this is something called implicit casting. We will look into that, and now once we do that, we can check now the type of this C variable should be C. We can check that. We can check this output here. Let's try to execute. Okay, this A is 34, this is float, and then the type of C is float. So that's how we can work with the numbers. After that, this D is a complex. This D is a complex data type which has a real part, and this is an imaginary part. The imaginary, to represent imaginary part, we use the suffix J. So we can print it. It will print as it is. What we can do, let's try to print this. I will get all that along with this. Yes, so this is a complex type with real part and imaginary part. After that, the concept, we can change the data type of any variable. It is called casting. We can explicitly send that variable through that. We can explicitly actually give that specific data type for that variable. So let's see how to do that. You can see here. Yeah. Let me comment it out. Something. Okay. Here you can see the value of B, ABC. We can again assign some values here. Then B. This is a floating point. What else can I need? So D is equals to this is, I am declaring some variables here with values. So now you can see the B is a floating point number. I want to convert it to the integer. Then A is an integer. it has an integer value. So I want to convert it to float value. When I convert this float value to integer, it will exclude this decimal part and will display only this part. After that, when I convert this a, which is a integer, to float, it will the output I get will be 45.0. So let's try this first. Yes. So as I said, the integer b, we converted here this float number to integer, which is 56. You can clear it here. Here you can see it is 56, and I tried to convert this integer to float, which I got 45.0. Then we can convert any data type to other data type. So here you can see I can convert this number to string. So for that, what I will use here, print, and this is the keyword, and pass that value here, that variable here. So you will get, now system will consider this 45 as a string, and you will not be able to perform any operation with 45 because it is no longer a number. You can see here this is a string now. And now if I try to see the type, let's try to print type of this. I think I need to assign this somewhere. Let's assign this value to variable a. What I am doing here, I am converting this variable to string and assigning it to this variable, then trying to print the type of that variable, the new variable. So let's see. Yes. So after assigning that value, the type of E is now, you can see here, clear. You can see it is a string. Then we can change the now let's try to change this a to complex number. So how we will do it? Complex, and we are providing that variable a which has value 45, right? So what I should get, because I am giving just one, I'm providing just one value, it will be considered as a real part of the imaginary of the complex number. If let's check value first. Let's execute so that we'll have better idea. Are you seeing the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. So here you can see this a is a real part of the complex number, and it is taking imaginary number 0. So we can send two numbers separating with comma. The next may be b. Let's see. So now 45 plus with this imaginary part. So that's how we can turn the integer or float to the complex data type. We can print only real part or imaginary part. Let's see now here, as we have so the variable dot d has a complex variable, complex number value. So d dot, I want to see the imaginary part of this. So let's see, it is a 4. So you will see here, imaginary part is 4. The same way you can check the real part by using this keyword, and that's how we can convert all data types to other data types. But there is one what you call it, exception, like we cannot convert complex data type to any other data type. Like how you have seen, I converted integer to float to integer, then float to complex, float to string to integer, everything. But we cannot convert complex data type to any other data type. So that is an exception here. And this is all about data types, numbers, and casting. So for further, now Mr. Edmund will guide us for further topics. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Anna. This is wonderful. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Edmund Kabue, and we have seen the lessons for data types and how to cast different data types. Now we are going to look at each of the data types as we progress in the course. So the next week lessons are going to focus on string data types, and you also look at string methods. So that's what I am going to introduce to you today. So we see how we use strings and how we also use the string methods, the different string methods that are available in Python. All right, I'm going to share my screen. So I would start illustrating this. All right, now we are going to start with the strings. So we have seen that strings are collection of characters or sequence of characters that can be surrounded by double quotes or single quotes. So I'm going to type this again just to make it clear. So let's say a text now, which is a variable, is equal to, we're going to assign a set of string. So let's use single quotes, and the text now should be, let's say I a string. Now if I print this type like Miss Anna has illustrated, so let's say we print this type. So print in a pair of curly braces, I want to print the type. So I'm going to use the function type. And what do I want to print? I want to print the type of data we have in the text variable. So I'm going to print this. Let's see the type of data we have. Okay, so I haven't closed a parenthesis, yes. So I'm going to do that and print this again. Now we are going to find that when we use single quotes, we still have the data type as a string, and when we use a double quotes, so I'm going to illustrate using a double quotes, and I run this, we still have the data type as a string. So this proves that we can use either a double quotes or a single quotes. Now, I prefer using the double quotes because sometimes we might have a situation like this whereby, so let's say if we're using a single quote and I want to change this text from I am to I am, the string. Now you can tell already that we're going to have an error because the ID itself defines this, that this is not the right syntax. So if I print this, we're going to have, so I'm going to clear this so we can see this properly. And I think it's best if I position this at the right, so we see it side by side. Okay, so now if I run this script, we're going to get a syntax error because it's mistaking the apostrophe for a closed quote. So in Python, we either have the double quotes or the single quotes, but when we have a situation like this, it's easier to use the double quotes, and this we call this is a way to go around this if we are not using an escape character. So I'm going to show you what an escape character is for situations like this. So if I run this now, we are going to get, so I don't want to check the type, I just want to print what's in the text. So if I run this, we are going to get the text, which is I am a string. Now, what if we want to do this in a complex way? Now, let's say we don't want to use a double quotes and we want to continue using a single quote. Now, there's something we call escape characters in Python. So I'll change this to a single quote and I'll clear this. Now, the escape character helps us to ignore, or helps us to close this, or tell the Python that we are not closing the string, or we did not open the string here. So one way to get around this problem is to use what we call the escape character by adding the backslash before the apostrophe. So now you can see that the error is no longer highlighted here again. So it's going to read this apostrophe quotes as the first one and the last quote as the closed quote. So I'm going to print this. So if we print text, we're going to see that we have the complete string as I am a string. Now, there are other escape characters that we have available to us, and one of them is the \n. And this basically means we are creating a new line, like entering the enter key on your keyboard, or for those who have done the front-end course, it's like using the break tag. So I'm going to do this here, so we see how this looks like. So the \n is our escape key for enter. So this is going to make sure that a new line starts from this part of the string or the sentence. So if I run this, we get I am, and it breaks the line and continues on the next line saying I am a string. So let's also look at another escape character, and this is known as the \t. So it's same as your tab key on your keyboard for space. So for us to have a better example, I'm going to change the text here so we can see with a better sentence. So let's say we have a text like this that says the future of space travel and it's changing or in how it's changing our world. So from what we have here, I'm going to close this later. Okay, so now we have a long sentence here and we want to make use of the escape characters. Now we are using a single quote for this string, as we've learned that to assign a string, we use to declare a string, we use either the double quotes or the single quotes. So now we're using the single quotes, and we have some conditions here that would give us a problem if we use the proper text formatting. For example, the text word here is meant to have an apostrophe, and this is already giving us the same error. So to escape this error, we use a backslash, and once we have added the backslash, it's takes out the error. And then also we want to break the line from this part of the text. As you can see, it's a long sentence. So let's say this is all we have, or maybe a mobile screen where we have limited space, and we want to make sure that this text breaks on, because in Python you don't just start a new line. Every new line is this when you break a line, or when you press the enter key on your keyboard, it automatically terminates that line of code. So if I do this here, you can see that it's trying to break this line of code, which is wrong because I am not meant to start the next line of code like this. So in order for us to properly end a line and start on a new line, that's where we use the backslash T. So I'm going to use the backslash and a T to make sure that the line breaks from this parts of the text. And then now this text is a quote, and let's say we want to name or call the name of mention the name of the person or the author of this quote, and I'm going to use a backslash T to break this line again. And then the name of the author of this quote is Astrid Gomez. Now I can print this like this, but I want to make sure that it's well formatted. So recall I said that we have another escape character that helps us to break a line. So sorry, it's the backslash N for breaking the line, and now we're going to use the backslash T to create a space. That's how you use the tab key on your keyboard. So if I say here I want a space using the backslash T, and I run this, okay, so I have a backslash. Okay, so now this is what we get. We get the whole text, but breaking according to the format we have specified. So here you see the future of space travel, as it is here, the future of space travel. And then when we use the \n, it breaks the line from the and statement text, which we have here as the new line, and how it's changing. So recall that we can't use a single, we can't use an apostrophe while declaring a string with a single quotation. So we use the / for this escape, and it gives us the proper text format. And then also after the words, changing our word, we have a space before the name. So you can see that this is a well formatted quote and the author below the quotes. So this is how we can format text in Python to avoid errors when breaking lines, and also to create proper spaces. All right, so now there's another way to do this. We can do this by using a triple quote. So a triple quote is essentially 3 single quotes like we use for comments. So it's used to have string that can span more than one line or multiple lines. So I'm going to take out all this formatting. Oh, okay, so let's see, so we can compare both of them. I'm going to repeat this. Let's change this to sentence. And now for this sentence variable, all the formatting. And we're going to use a triple quote for this verb, this string. Now I want to end the line here as we initially tried to, and then I want this next line to start the next line, but I'm going to maintain the for our tab. Now I want to print these 2 variables so we see how they display. So here I'm going to say print sentence. So let's clear terminal. We have both of them, but okay. So I previously removed the formatting here. Okay, so this is due to the space we have. Got to what we are looking. So we have the for the sentence. I'm going to take this out. Now clear this to avoid any confusion. So we have the same format, and here in the sense we have the text format displaying exactly as we entered it here, which where we broke the line before the and starts a new line from the and word and continues to, and then we start a new line but this time we used the tab escape key to create a space for the author. So you see that the text format remains the same, just the way we intended to, using the triple quotes. So this is how you can format your string with escape keys. Now we have to note that when we use the triple quotes like this, the difference between a multi-line string and a multi-line comment is that you use triple quotes without assigning it to a variable. So let's say I want to let me take this out. So let's say I want to take out the assignment operator here, where we assigned the variable to this string. If we print sentence, we are not going to get any value for this sentence variable, because it's going to see this as a comment and not a string. But in the case of a string, we have to make sure that we assign the string in this triple quotes like this to a variable. So this makes sure that when we print the variable as we had here, which is sentence, it's going to give us as a string and not a comment, or do not ignore it as a comment. So now let's look at string slicing. I'm going to comment this out. Now, string slicing, since strings are a sequence of characters, each single character has its own index value, starting from 0, as Miss Anna has illustrated. So let's look at an example here. So let's say we use the same variable, but this time we're going to have a different sentence. Say Python is amazing programming language. So I'll use a double quotes. All right, so now we have a string here. We've assigned to the sentence Python, the sentence variable, and we say Python is an amazing programming language as our string. So let's say I want to access the characters, or I want to access a character at index 4, which here we have as O. So we'll look at how to access the characters. Now recall from the lesson Miss Anna illustrated, if we want to start counting the index, we start from 0. So which means that the first character here, which is P, is identified as, or it's the value of the P, the index value of the P character here is 0. So we start counting from 0. And so we can say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I say 4, index 4, it means I'm talking about this character we have here, because it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, and O as 4. So let's say we want to access the character at index 4, which we have as O, and we can do that like this. So I want to print sentence, but I want the index only, the fourth index only from the sentence variable. So I'm going to save this and I'll clear this so we see. So we have here just O as the index, just as we've specified in the print statement. Now, if you want to access the very last character of the string, and let's say I want to access the very last character of the string and I don't know what index that is, we use -1, which means I am starting from the end of this specific string, which will give us the last index. So now we have the whole characters in this string, and I can't start counting, so I don't know exactly what the last character here would be. So I want to print out just this last character, but I don't know the exact index number it has. So what I have to do is use the -1. And if we run this, we are going to get the very last character, which is E. Now, it's the same way if I want to access the second to last character, which will be -2. So if I use -2 and I run this, we're going to get the second to last character, which is G, and so on for if we want the third character as well. Now, also we can start from the beginning. So let's say I suppose I want to get the characters between particular indexes. Let's say index 13 and index 19. So I will go from index 13 to index 20 like this. So I want to get the characters from index 13. I'm going to write it in this parameter, but here we're going to have two parameters, and one will be for the start of the index, where we want to get the characters from, and where we want to stop getting the characters from. So I want to get from index 13 to index 19, but I have to stop at 20 for me to get index 13 to 19. So now I'm going to save this. Now, if we count it, we can as well figure this out, but we are going to let's run this so see what we get. So we get the word amazing. Now, how did we get this from these indexes? Let's say we want to count it. Now we count from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're counting the empty space as well. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now 13 is where we have the first word for amazing, the first letter for amazing, which is A, and we say we want to stop at index 19. So if we keep counting, which is this A now starts with A, the index 13 is A, so we'll go on to 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So 19 is the last index here originally, but we stopped the count at index 20. So this is the syntax. So the system, the print statement is going to make sure that the sentence or the index counted here would terminate, the counting would terminate at index 20, but it's not going to print out the index 20, but print from the previous index, which is index 19. So this is how the counting works when you are trying to get indices from a string. Now we're going to look at another example. So let's say we want to start from the beginning and end at a specific index of the string. So I'm going to change this here. So remember, this is the end of, or the index, or this parameter signifies the end for the index we want. That in the string, let's say we want to end at a specific index. So this parameter is for that end. So let's say I want this count to stop at index 6, and I want it to start from the very beginning. What I have to do is start from 0, just like we did for amazing. So here we start from 0 because 0 is P. So we say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the empty space, which is 6. Now recall that it's going to count up to 6, but it's going to terminate at the 5th index and print out the character at the 5th index. So I'm going to print this out. So see what we get. Now you can see that we get Python because it stops at the 6th index but prints out the character from the 5th index, or at the 5th index. But what if I want to display every second character between 0?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Okay.
It's kind of confusing.
Okay, so please, you can ask any question. I would explain.
You said it will when it starts from 0, it terminates at 6.
Yes.
Okay, I understand. Since we're counting from 0.
Yes, we're counting from 0. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it terminates at 6, but it prints out from the previous index, just like we did for amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you always want to make sure that when you want to access a string and you want to access it by the indexes, when you specify the start and end of index, that's the amount of characters you want by the index, you always try to remember that the last index is not always printed out. So it's going to terminate at the last index you specify, but it prints out from stops printing from the last or the previous index before the last index you specify here. So if we say 5, for example, and we run this, we're not going to get the n word or the n later anymore. We're going to get we're going to stop at O. But if we count this, you can see that it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But yes, we have 5 characters and we wanted to get all the characters as specified, but by the order of counting, it terminates at the last, but prints out, it terminates at the last index we specify, but prints out up to the previous index. So is this clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. So if we want to display every second character, for example, we want to display every second character between index 0 to 6. Let's say we still have this here. I'm going to clear this. So let's say we still have this 0 to 6. We can specify any index. If we want the whole of it, we can specify, but I want to use small characters as much as possible so that we can see how things works easily. Now, if I want to get every single character or every second character from this Python, so you see 0 to 6 gives us Python. Now I don't want the complete characters. I want to get in the order of just only the second character, starting from, it always starts from 0. So let's say I don't want Y. So, and I want to get every second character on this set of indexes that I have here. So I'm going to get P and ignore 1 because it starts counting as 1, 2. So is going to take T, which is the second character. So remember, it's the counting always starts with the first.
Hello? Can't hear you again.
Yeah, me either. Hello? I'm not able to hear.
It's like it's having network
Maybe.
problem.
Yeah. We can wait.
I apologize for the interruption. I had little issues with my network. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes, now we
All
can
right.
hear.
Okay, sorry about the interruption. All right, so I was trying to show us a way we can print out specific indexes from a group of index that we've selected. So when we selected 0 to 6, we had Python printed out. Now, we want to print out only few selected characters from this group of index that we have specified from, which is 0 to 6 index. Now, to do this, we use the third parameter. And in this parameter, I said that this parameter is used for when we want to have steps for the counting to follow. So now let's say we want every second word in this string, which we have specified 0 to 6. So if I run this now, I'm going to get PTO. Now recall that we specified 0 to 6, which means we just from here to here, and we want this every second character in this group of indexes. Now, starting from 0, it's going to start counting from 0, but it's going to print out the first character, but start counting on the next character, which is 1, and we have 2 as T, which is the second character. That's why we have PT, and then the next one is going to be ignored because the counting starts next from the next character, which is 1 for H and O for 1 for H and 2 for O. So you can see 1, 2, we get T, and 1, 2, we get O. But if we keep going, we don't remember it's going to print to 5, so we don't have. Now, even if we increase this to 7, we're not going to get that last character because it's going to stop at the empty space character. But what you just need to note here is that when you specify a step like this, like using the number 2, it means you want every second character in the selected group of characters. So starting from the first index 0 is going to print out index 0 and start counting from the next character, which is Y here. And so we say 1, 2, we get T, 1, 2, we get O, and N is just 1 and it's going to be omitted. And unfortunately, we have the index we selected terminating here, so we can't have any other character being printed out. So this is the way to select this, and we can change this as well. If we use 1, it means that we want to count every single character selected from 0 to 6. So now we're going to get Python printed out, because we're no longer counting every second character, we're counting every single character. So it's simple as just looking at it as count using one, everyone, just count everyone. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 is going to be printed out. But if we say 2, it's to take us back to from the first index. After printing the first index, it's going to count 1, 2, print T, 1, 2, print O. And then if we maybe have it increased, let's say we want to print Python is. So let's say we'll count this empty space now, which is still 6, and I7, S8, and the last character where it's going to terminate, which will be 9. So if I specify 9 here and I run this, so let's look at this without counting every single character, every second character. Let's just count everything from 0 to 9. It's going to give us Python is. So you see it terminates at the 9th index, but doesn't print out. It only prints out the previous index before it's terminated. Now, this is the same as not even specifying a third parameter, if you recall from the previous example. But now we want to print out every second character. So if we change this to 2, it's going to start from the first character, but counts every second character only after then. So after the first character, P, counts 1, 2, so gives us T, counts 1, 2, gives us O, counts the space before. So counts 1, 2, gives us T, 1, 2, gives us O. So 1, 2, and what we have here, because we say every second character, is S. So it ignores this and gives us S. So it's just going to keep counting 1, 2, 1, 2, every character from the beginning. So it all depends on where you specify in the start and end of the indexes. Now, if we say 3, it's going to start counting every third character as well. So if we run this, we're going to have fewer characters, because we are going to start normally from P, but 1, 2, 3 gives us O, but 1, 2, 3. Now, because we are skipping this part, the space, so if we say 1, 2, 3 gives us 1, 2, 3 gives us the H, which we have here as H. Then we start counting 1, 2, 3. So the line terminates at 1, 2, 3. So line terminates at this 9, and we don't have the extra letter to count, which would have given us A. So unless we increase this to 10, then we're going to have A counted. So you can see it just goes on and on. So this is just a step to use when counting, or when slicing. When slicing our string. Now there are other use we can the other way we can slice this string further. So let's say if we want to count from the beginning or count to the ending of the string, so we're just simply going to make sure that there's no parameter to count with. So I'm just going to take out all the specified indexes. So we leave empty spaces, and I'm going to clear this. If I run this simply means that we're not specifying any particular index to start or end. So this is just all of the indexes or characters that are available in the variable or in the string variable. So here we have Python is an amazing programming language, which is the complete character we have in the string. We can also look at this from another angle. So let's say we want to start from the beginning, but we still want to end at a specific character. All we have to do is specify the character we want to end, and if we run it, we're going to get just only that character. So it's like using the 0, specifying from 0, but it's still the same as we're not specifying at all. We just want from the beginning to where the index 6 ends, and we'll get Python for that. And what if we want to start from a different part of the string? We don't want to start from the beginning. Let's say we want to start from index 21 and to the end. We want everything from index 21 to the end. So just like we did for the previous one, where we didn't specify the index, we get everything from beginning. But here we are not specifying anything for the end, so we're going to get everything from index 1 to the end. So if we run this, we're going to get from index 21 programming language. So you can confirm this to see we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 21 is P. And that's where it comes in slicing from. So it slices from P, and we get everything because we didn't specify any parameter or any index where it's going to end. So it gives us everything. So remember, the third parameter indexes indicates how much we are counting by, so which is the step. So let's try something with the third parameter as 2. So if we don't have anything here, we are not specifying anything, and we're not specifying anything for the start, we're not specifying anything for the end. We just want every second characters in the string starting from 0. So just like we have done before, if we run this, we're going to get every second characters from 0 to the end of the string, because we didn't specify a start, we didn't specify a stop, but we just want the step to be that we want every single characters from the string. So it's going to start from P, then count from the next index, which is Y, but Y is 1, so it doesn't give us Y, it gives us T, because T is the second character. So T, then H, O is the second character, and then the space. So it just goes on every single character you can find on the string. And then we can as well change this. We can use 1 instead, and this is just like not specifying any character, because it's just going to count every single character, not every second character, every single character in the string. So if we run this, we're going to get the same like before, where we have the whole character in the string, which is Python is an amazing programming language. Is this clear enough?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
All right, so now another thing we can do here is reverse our string by changing to minus. So just like we used, when we used minus the last time, we used it for the end of the slicing. That's the end part of the slicing. Remember, the second parameter is always for the end part. So when we used -1, it gave us the last character. But here, if we use a -1, it's going to give us, that's in the third parameter. If we specify -1, it's going to reverse the string. So I'm going to run this now. So we see that the whole string is reversed. So this is the whole string, because we didn't specify any start or stop. So it's a bit complicated from here. From here, if you want to specify which particular, let's say you want to isolate a particular set of characters and you want to reverse those characters, we can do this in 2 ways. So it's complex from here. You have to have the basic understanding of how this system works. So one thing you should always remember, so I'm going to put it here. Let's say we are printing this. we always want to remember that the format is the first parameter is for start, the second parameter is end, and the third parameter is for the step. So this is the format you should always remember when using slicing like this. So let's say now we want to reverse a specific set of or group of indexes. So if I say print, I'm going to copy this. I say print sentence, and I want the string from, so recall we had seen that if we set the parameter 0 to 6, or we don't specify anything and we just say we want everything from the beginning to 6, it's going to give us Python like it gave us Python, but this we're giving it 2 arguments, unlike when we had just one argument and 3 parameters. Now these are 2 arguments, and we want just the first index, the first selected indexes, which is from beginning to index 6, and we want it to be reversed. So that's what these 2 arguments is going to give us. So if I run this now, I'm going to get Python only. So Python is isolated and Python is reversed. Now another way we can do this is if you are now comfortable with how the indexes work, you want to reverse the index in 1 argument. You don't want to use 2 arguments, for example. So now recall that when we were using -1 for the end, which is this parameter, for the end parameter, it gave us the last character. So now while we increase the minus to -2, it gave us the second to last character. When we decrease to -3, it gives us the third to last character. So this is in reverse. So you want to make sure that everything here is counting in reverse. Now we can say that we want from -36, which is where we want the index to start counting from, because we are going backward. So we are counting from -1, 2, 3, 4, just like that to 36. So in this case, because we're going backward, 36 will come before a higher index. So let's say -42. So -42 now would be the index before 36 if we were going forward, but because it's reversed, the index now would be where the counting stops. So if I run this now, we are still going to get what we specify here, which is Python. So you can count it just now to see that it's what we have selected here. So if we start counting from -1, which is E, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So 39 is 30, N is 36. So that's where we counted 2 as our start, because remember it's in reverse. So this is where it starts from. And then we ended it at 42. So you keep counting, you're going to get 41 at P, but we count to 42. So it prints out when it terminates at 41. Remember it's in reverse. We're no longer counting the way we used to when it was not reversed. So since it's in reverse, we continue the same. So 42 would be the last, but 41 is P when you count it. So it gives us this But just for you to understand easily, if this works for you, fine. Then you can use this when you want to slice complex, like a complex way of slicing like this. All right, so I'm going to clear this. And now we can look at string methods. So for string methods, we want to look at the first string methods. We've seen the different string slicing. So there are methods we can use to follow up with these strings, the strings itself. So this first string method we want to look at is the strip method. Now the strip method is in Python removes characters from the beginning and end of a string and not from the middle. So let's say we have so I'm going to comment this out. So let's say we have a sentence here, and this time our sentence is assign a variable that says I am happy. And we want to, so if this sentence, let's add a spacing before and after. So we have space here now, before and after. So we want to strip out the spaces. So when we print this, we are going to specify that we want to print the sentence, but this, we don't just want the whole of the string because it's going to give us the space along with it. So we want it to be just the text only. So we say strip sentence dot strip, and this automatically just it's just going to take out the spaces before and after the text itself. So if we had not printed this without the strip, we would have had space before and after the text I am happy. And then we can also strip specific indexes. So like the explanation I said, the strip method in Python removes characters from the beginning and end of a string and not from the middle. So let's say we want to strip out a specific character from the beginning. So if we specify a character here, for this I'm going to take out the space, so we no longer have the space as the first character. So now I want to say I want to strip out the character I. So if I run this, we're going to get I'm happy because we have stripped out the first character from the sentence. All right, so we're going to be looking at different methods. So I'll just try to comment the name of the methods here. So this is strip method. And we can as well split this. So we're going to look at the split method. So I'm going to comment this out. Now let's look at the split method. Now if we still have the same syntax, the same variable, I am happy, and the split method in Python splits a string into a list of substrings based on a specified separator. So if we, in this case, if we want to print out the sentence, and we want to specify, we want to split it in a list, for example. So all we have to do here is just say print sentence, and we just want to split the sentence. If we run this, we're going to have the sentence in separated by a comma in a list, just like you've seen how the list works, or how the list data type is displayed in Mrs. Anna's lesson. So what if we want to split out a specific character? Sorry, like the explanation says, this method helps us to split a string into a list of substrings, but we can also specify based on a specified separator. So now in this first example, we had no specified separator. So let's just assume this is an empty space. That's why every empty space is now taken as the base for the separator. So that's why we have I separated, am separated, happy separated. So let's say we want to use the letter or the character A as a separator. So we have A here, we have A here. So if we run this now, we're going to see that every index where we have the character A is now a separator. So now we have I, and the where we have A next now is now a separator. So we no longer have the AM, which is so we now have there as the new separator, which is omitted. It's converted to the separator. So we have I and the space, and A now is a separator, and we have MH. So it looks for the next character where we have A, because we specified it as a split, and it uses it as the separator. So we now have PPY as the next list of characters. All right, so this is for splits, and let's look at a use case for this split method. So assuming, well, let's say we are asking a user to input a username, and if they are copying and pasting their username, sometimes the value of the input may carry some type of extra spaces. So let's say you have the password, for example, or the username saved in a drive or something, and you want to copy it from that document. Sometimes it carries some extra spaces in the beginning or at the end, which will interfere with the expected format to run our program. So let's say, for instance, now the name of this person's username that we expect to put in input is Frankie123, but for some reason when he copied and pasted this username, it had extra spaces. So in this case, we would use the strip method. So let's use the strip method that we've looked at for this scenario. So I'm going to comment this out too. And we're going to look at an example too for that. Okay, so let's say I'm going to clear this out. Let's say a string. We're going to assign a string, and we want an input. So when we want to take inputs here, since we're not using a form in Python, we use the function or the input keyword input, and in a pair of curly brace we are going to take the inputs. So we can also have placeholders here in the inputs like we have for forms. So we can say in the placeholder with a quote, we say enter your username. So now this is expected that when the user gets this prompt to enter the username, the user should supply his username. So let's print this string. Now, how do we make sure that when the user supplies his username, if the username comes like we said, if he copies this username from somewhere, and we want to make sure that the space does not interfere with the formats expected for this input. So you know how you have validations for inputs and or regular expressions, and maybe we don't want any of that to spoil how we expect to take this data. So when we want to clean this data, we want to have it just the username and no spaces before or after the characters. So we use the strip. We can use the strip method for this purpose. So now I have included the strip method here, and this will make sure that it's going to strip it from any empty spaces. So this, by not specifying, like we said here, not specifying a character, we are going to strip only the spaces before and after the string. So if we run this, it's going to give us the prompt to enter a username. So now I want to give a space first before typing the username, Frankie 123, and then I'm giving a space again. So by default, normally if I don't have this strip method here, it's supposed to save it and print it as I have supplied the string, but because we have the strip method here, so if I enter this, I don't have any space before and after the username, because I have used the strip method to make sure that it eliminates spaces before and after the username. So let's look at another real world scenario for this split, or because of time, but let's just move to the next data string method. So now next we have the replace method. Now, the replace method in Python replaces occurrences of a specified substring with another substring. So if, for example, now we are still using this sentence variable, and we want to replace a particular character. Let's say we want to remove the I, so we're going to replace it with just a space, right? So if we want to eliminate I from here, so we say print sentence. Now I want to replace the sentence. Don't replace. This means that I want to replace a particular character. So I said I want to replace I, and I want to replace it with an empty. So sorry, I'm going to type this again. Okay, and I want to replace it with an empty character. So this is just going to take out, clear this. This is just going to take out the I character. So now we have I'm happy instead of I am happy. And we can also specify the characters for both parameters. Let's say I want to replace H instead of I am happy. I want N, I am nappy. So something like I'm sleepy. So if I run this, instead of I am happy, I get I am not, because I have replaced the letter H with the letter N. So let's look at a real life scenario with the method for replace. So let's say we have, I'm going to comment this. Now let's say, because the replace method is very useful. So if we have a lot of occurrences of some type of characters in a string that we want to change, and it will be difficult to change each one manually. So let's say we have a string that takes inputs for specific or maybe amounts that user inputs into the database every time. So let's say like we're building a program for that will take a certain amount and do something. So if the input now is expected to take amounts in a currency, in a specific currency like the dollar. So let's say inputs so inputs now, and I want to replace let's say the person is going to enter values for US dollar, and the person is going to be using, or the person has used the dollar sign often, and now this is going to give me too many problems for me to start changing every time the person enters that a value or a currency using the dollar sign. But now I want to make sure that whenever the person enters this value with the dollar sign, it's going to be replaced with the USD text. So I want the format when I want to display this, or once I want it to be stored in my database. I want, for example, if the person is to enter $200, I want it to be 200 USD instead of $200 sign. So I'm going to use the replace here, and I'm going to specify what I want to change. So if the person is always entering a dollar, I want the program to change that dollar to a USD. So I'm going to change this to USD. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to print the string. Now, if we print string, it's going to ask us for, so it's still why it's good to always have a placeholder so you can tell what it's asking. Now, if I enter with the dollar sign, say $200, what I get printed now, or what it takes, because I have changed the method of the string expected here. So now we are entering number, but when we look at numbers specifically, we're going to see how to make sure that the number entered is an integer and not as a string. So, but this is just to illustrate how to replace specific characters in a string method. So let's say now the user enters the $200 with the dollar sign, but automatically, because I have replaced it with the USD text, it changes the dollar sign to USD. So now my table or my database, or where I am going to have this value stored, would remain as I wanted. So undermining if the user uses a sign or uses a USD. So you can make sure that the input is corrected using the replace method. So is there any confusion? Do you understand so far?
Yeah, I do understand.
Okay, so we have other methods like start with method. We have ends with. We have upper, lower, and I think we did most of that in the class lesson. So because of time, I just want to quickly do a simple exercise that we're going to use most of these methods. So the exercise I am going to do here would be a program where we're going to create a program that would take in a particular input and encrypt it and also decrypt it. We're going to also write a program to decrypt it as well. So, but we want you to do this using all the different slicing and string slicing that we've learned so far. So, for this exercise, we are going to be creating a social media account. We're going to use have a scenario when we're creating a social media account. So, let me do this here. So, for example, when you're creating a Facebook account, the password, like you're creating a social media account on Facebook, right? The password is not stored the same way you entered it. So first, it encrypts your password so that it's not immediately recognizable before it stores your password. Then this is done to prevent hackers from seeing your password. So when they see your password, it will be encrypted. It will be the encrypted version of your password, not the actual password. And whenever you log into your Facebook account, first the text you entered will be encrypted and then compared with the one already stored in the database when you created your account. And if the encrypted password matches, then you have entered the correct password. So let's perform some basic string encryption on the user input for a password. So so that the result is going to be an encoded or secret message. Okay.
Okay.
The message to a variable called a. So we have a equal to our message, or we can as well make a take the input, since we're going to be taking the input as password. So I would say input, and in the placeholder I want the user to enter a secret word. And now this word, or if we print A, what we're going to get is whatever is entered. But that is not how we want to encrypt this. We want to create this program that will encrypt the password. So if we print this A, we're going to get whatever value, whatever word that is entered here. So in order for us to encrypt this, we're going to use the slice method, the string slicing method that we've learned. So we're going to make sure that whatever is entered is reversed. So we'll say A equal to A, and make sure that it's a string, a reverse string. So we use the same parameter we used for the string slicing. So we set the first parameter to be empty because we are not specifying any we don't specify any particular index. We don't know how many indexes that the user would supply, so we want everything to just be reversed. So remember, this is how we did the reverse. So let's add a few more methods to make it more encrypted. Now let's replace all the spaces in our string with some specific character using this replace method that we've learned. So we can say, but first, I'm going to make sure that this program prints whatever we have done. So print A, and then next we want to replace specific characters, so we can say A, but this time will be A dot, since we have saved all these programs in the variable A, so we'll say A, but this time we want to replace any empty space with a complicated character. So let's say we use 0 and a percentage. So this means that any empty space is going to be replaced with 0 and percentage. And I would like to print this so we see how the encryption so far has been. And then we also want to add some more, because the more operations we perform on our string, the more heavily encrypted the message or the password will be. So let's add some numbers at the beginning of our string, and we can say A equal to, this is just going to be simple. We just want to add a number, but this number we're adding it as a string, so it can easily add. So we're going to put the number in a string. So 101, let's add 101. And we want to use the operator to add it to the variable A. So let's print this as well when we run the script. And I think this is enough. We can add more if we want. So I'm just going to run this. Let's see what we've done so far. So now it's going to ask us for a secret word. So let's say the secret word is my secret password. Or okay, I'm just going to, let's say secret password. So secret password is what I have used. So if I enter, what I get now is the encryption. So first, it gives me the password. So this is normally how it would have displayed if we don't encrypt this. So now we started the encryption. We first said that we want the whatever is entered to be reversed. So now you see it as reversed. The password or the secret password now is displayed as reversed here in the second print. So the first print prints out the word exactly as we entered. The second print prints out the reverse format of the password. And then we also said we want to replace any space there with with this 0 and percentage. So you see the space between them now has 0 and percentage. And then also we want to print, we added number, but we first converted, make sure that the number is a string. So it's not adding to give us a particular result. It's just going to add it. This is what happens when you add two strings together. So remember what we've been having here so far are strings. So what we just have now is 101 plus the password entered, which is still a string. So it just adds it together. Now, this doesn't, if you look at this, you won't be able to recognize easily the password that we've entered. So this is so far what we can do, but we can add more. We can increase, use the uppercase, lowercase methods, or the other methods, but just because this is what we've learned so far, because of time, we're just going to use these few ones to encrypt this. Now, to decrypt this, all we have to do is make sure that everything is in reverse. Now, we can only decrypt this if we already know the step. So let's say as a programmer now, you are given a particular program to decrypt, but the previous programmer had already commented how the steps he followed to encrypt this program. So now let's decode this program. So first, I want to print out something. I want it to have a proper display. So that's why I'm going to say, let's print out in a new line. New line, I want to print the word first, decrypting. So this is just for descriptive purpose or display purpose, so the user understands, or whoever doesn't understand programming can understand what's going on. So decrypting. And next, we want to reverse everything that has been done here. So since we know the step, we know that first thing we did was the last thing we did. Since we're doing it in reverse as the only way to decrypt or decode this program, we now want to remove the numbers that we've added. So we're also going to use the slice method with length. So we're going to say a is equal to using the slice method, we want to start printing out, or we want to start revealing this password from the third index. So if we're counting, what we have here is 0 1 0 1 2. So we want to start revealing from D, which is 3. So once we say the first parameter now should be the index should start from 3, it means we'll start counting from D, because we know that we added 101 as number, which isn't part of the password entered. And then we don't want anything else, so we're just going to leave the rest empty. And then we also saying that so I'm going to print this. So let's follow the same steps. So I'm going to print A. So we just see it step by step as we are doing it. So next, we replaced the empty spaces with 0 and percent. So we're just going to do the same thing here, but this time we are not replacing it with the removing the replacements we used. So we're going to return it back to the empty space, but we're taking out the 0 and percentage from the method. So this will make sure that we've taken out what we added as replacement for the space, and we're going to print this out. So we see the step. And lastly, we reversed it. So we want to make sure that everything is back to normal. So we're going to make sure we reverse it back to as well. I'm just going to repeat this. I'm going to print the final state of it. So I'll run this. Okay, so I'm having an error. 15. So invalid syntax. Okay, so something is wrong here. Oh, okay, so it's for A. So just like we did first, we want to make sure it starts from 3. I'm going to clear this and run this again. Now, the password we are going to enter here this time, I want to start with a space. So everything is going to run as the program has been set. So a space, and then I'm going to say my password. And give a space. So if I enter now, it's just the way the program we've written has been programmed to make sure that when the password is entered, first we want, so you can do without the print statement, but this is for us to see every step of the encryption. So first we see that when it prints out A alone after entering the password, space, my space, password space, it gives us just space, my space, password space. And then when we reverse it, it gives us the reverse version of it, still with the spaces. And then when we replace the space with 0 and percentage, it adds the 0% to all the spaces that are available. And then we added 101 to the password. And that's why we have 101, 0, 101 0% and the reversed version of the password. So now to decrypt this, because we know the process, we just made sure that first of all, now to decrypt it is in reverse. So we start from the last thing we did by taking out the first three number we added as a string, and it takes out the first three numbers, and then we also replaced back the space. What we replaced the space as or with, which is 0 and percentage, we replaced it back with a space, and then we also reversed how we reversed it before. So to reverse it is just doing the opposite, just doing the same thing again. We reversed it and then we reversed it again. So it gives us the last version of the enter. So it encrypts it and then decrypts it. So we've successfully created a program using the splits, using the string slicing and string method that we learned just now. All right, so because of time, we're ending this here, so we can have more space for us to compare the rest of everything we've learned so far. All right.
Sorry, excuse me. What if you don't know how it was encrypted?
Then you would never be able to decrypt it, because this is a basic security protocol that we just program we just did. So when this is a process that takes place as a program. So when you're creating your programs, you're going to create this as a function, and this function now is going to make sure that as the user enters it's and how your function is not sent to the GitHub. You can have them saved as instances on your on your development, your app file. Okay, when you advance that part, you understand. So there's a place we save these things in our local system that it's nobody will be able to get access to unless you let the user or you let the hacker in. So when we enter this password, it takes these processes, it runs this program. So that's why it's called a program. It runs everything, but we can ignore the prints because we're not supposed to see it. It's supposed to be a program that just does these functions, but we're trying to see the step everywhere it goes. That's why I added the print statement to see after every process has been successful. So if we don't have the print, what we're going to have is that it's going to run this in a function just like this, and then when it's stored in this last state, which is this. So if I successfully hack into the database, what I'm going to see is this. Now I wouldn't have any idea how this came about unless I'm told or I see the process. So now if the user, for example, a programmer had created this program for a particular website and he documents how this is done and you're able to see it, all you have to do is for decrypting is do it in reverse, just like we have done here. So by reverse version, we get back to what we initially entered. So this now you can tell. So with this decrypting part is not supposed to be part of the encryption program. So I'm just decrypting it so you can as well see how to undo something that has been done using the same string slicing and string methods. Is
All
this
right.
okay?
Yeah. Clear.
Yeah. All right, so we spent so much time. It won't be fair if we go further than this. So we can have more, you can have the recorded video for us to easily understand. All right, so with no further questions, we can end here, and we'll see you next. All right.
Okay, thank you.